Richard, good morning. Welcome to I think this is our fourth podcast in the series of CloudTrade TV to talk about the industry as a bit of a thought leadership, bit of a information forum for our listeners to understand what CloudTrade is doing and how we go to market. So, Richard, you're the Chief Operating Officer of the company. You've been with us, a couple of years now, is it?
Oh, I want to say that I'm coming up to my 4-year anniversary. I think that is the beginning of July, so not too far away from it now. I'm sure
No. And as I
get
say,
there
doesn't time
quickly.
fly when you're having fun, hey?
Yeah.
That time has definitely gone by quickly, and there's been an awful lot of changes in the company. We've moved office. You've been, spearheading
More
all
than
of that.
once.
Once is enough, and grown our headcount quite significantly over that period of time. So really interesting time for the company. So the title of this podcast is customer experience, or CX as the acronym is commonly used in the market today. Really important, and I sort of thinking about it this morning. I suppose customer experience, times gone by, was a bit of a cliche. The UK wasn't very good at it. I remember as a youngster going to the US and seeing a completely different approach to customer experience, and I'm glad to say that globally the world has woken up, because customer is king at the end of the day. Without customers, a business is not going to grow. So I thought that was, well, you and I discussed it. We thought this was a great title for this podcast. And indeed, in your role, customer experience, from one sales engaged with a customer and hand it over to operations, that's your domain, and to make sure our customers stay happy throughout their journey and for a long time. So really just wanted to start off with asking you a question that, we've been around 10 years now, which is great, and we've had success. We've grown in that period of time, and I think our retention rate has been nearly 100%. I believe in that 10 years we've lost one customer.
Yeah, it's
Because
pretty close to that, isn't it? So we must be doing something right. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. Well, I think that one customer actually changed their business model, so
Yeah.
our service wasn't right for them. So just really interested to hear from you about what your view is of customer experience, and how the operations team are working to provide the experience that we want our customers to have, not only in the early stages of delivery, but throughout their time with us, really. So, Richard, over to you on that one.
Yeah, so as you said there, I think we all realise that I think the key of it is the base level. Customers pay our wages, don't they? And I think sometimes companies lose sight of that. They don't treat their customers well. Once you've got their business through the door, it's like, oh, well, they've signed their check. I don't need to do anything with them. But actually, if you've got happy customers, that can benefit you as a company in a lot of different ways. Obviously we work through predominantly a partnership scheme. So our customers are our partners, and by working closely with them, making sure that they're getting excellent service from us, we're dealing with their problems, we're looking to get feedback from them. What that means is that we cement that relationship. We make it stickier. When they're going out and they're looking for their next piece of business, actually, when they think about CloudTrade, not only do we have a great technology solution that can help them out in a lot of situations, but actually, when they think about us, I'm sure they think, what a great group of people to work with. They're very responsive. They're always thinking of new pieces of technology. When we come to them with problems, they've got a yes culture there. We don't look at problems and go, oh no, that's not something we do. We enjoy getting problems here, because it means that we can look at new solutions and we can work with them. And so once you've got that relationship, that benefits everybody. The customer's having a great time. They're keen to do more business with us, and put more projects our way. We want to work with them because we've got a good relationship. And so one of the things that we drill into the guys here is, that it is important to build those relationships with customers. It is important to work with them about problems. It is important that when somebody comes to you with a question, you explain what's going on. You look at alternative solutions. You look at how we can work together. Not just having a sort of shut door kind of mentality, which is like, oh, this is fractionally outside what we do on a day-to-day basis. So we're not interested. We're completely different. We as I say, we know our customers are our partners, and we work with them as much as possible to make sure that everything works well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's yes, it's businesses looking after their customers is really important. But you raised a point there that people buy people at the end of the day, and it's building that relationship is so important. And we, I myself see customers come back to us time and time again because of that relationship. And it's not just about us having empathy with the specific solution that we're delivering. We really want to understand the end-to-end business process that we're engaging with the customer to ensure that whatever we provide delivers against our customers' outcomes. That's so important, and that's why we've retained, I believe, customers for such a long period of time. So moving that forward, no company can stand still. We
Yep.
continue to improve, and I know we've got lots of programs that were due to launch in 2021, so that's really exciting, and we'll talk about those in future podcasts, I have no doubt. But in terms of customer experience, just looking at the near and medium term roadmap, what are your plans in terms of improving that experience of enhancing the engagement with customers, and indeed in giving them more information, more feedback around how the service is performing, as an example?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. So one of the things we accept that within CloudTrade we do need to make sure that we maintain these relationships with our customers, and we're always looking at ways to improve things. So what I've set up recently is a sort of innovation group, and there's various parts to it. One is a sort of customer success group, which is looking to work with our sales team and looking to get feedback from their customers and the market to make sure that what we're providing and the service we're providing is meeting people's needs. Parallel to that, internally, we've got a group which is going to be focusing on improving the technology, the processes, the experience that the customers have with us. And I think the key thing about all of that is the way that we're going to improve things is we're going to be talking to customers. So we already do this a little bit because we've got a customer satisfaction survey which goes out I think every 6 months or so to all of our customers, which gives them a great opportunity to give us feedback, give us some metrics about what's going on, how they're finding our tools, whether there's any particular areas that we can help them with. That's good, but I don't think it's a substitute for actually sitting down, obviously virtually, with your customers and talking about how do they use them in a day-to-day process, how do they not use them, why do they not use them for some things but maybe for other things, what are the blockers that they see on a day-to-day basis. Because what we found from having these conversations with people is that people can be using our tools but not to their full potential, and sometimes it's because they're not aware of that. Sometimes it's because people, and I think we're all guilty of this, you get caught up in the day-to-day, and you're just about dealing with the problem in front of you, and sometimes you need somebody to come in and talk to you about what those problems are, so you can take a step back and say that, well, actually, yeah, I've had this problem every day, but I just solve it. Well, those are the kind of things that we can look to automate, and work with our partners. So I'm very excited about that. We've done some of this in the past, but what I'm looking to do over the next year is turn it into a really structured piece of work. We've got dedicated resource put on it now. It's one of those things that's it's easy to put in the sort of the nice to have bucket, but actually we recognise that this is the kind of essential work that needs to be done.
Sure.
And needs to have people dedicated to doing it.
Yeah. So what I hear there, which is really exciting, is both a customer success management role or focus and approach, but also continued service improvement. So that, as you say, you're getting feedback from the market, we're feeding that information into our product team, into our development team. So we listening to our customers and delivering that as part of our roadmap. Really exciting. As a customer, as a user, sometimes we are processing business critical documents, and clearly we have SLAs agreed with our customers based on the service we're delivering to them. Just talk to me a little bit about what we do today and how you see reporting improving. So, things like our service packs, things about like, the average time documents were processed, the SLAs, that type of information that you think would be valuable to a customer. Not to, beat CloudTrade up with, but really just to get a deep insight, as you say, that partnership role, how we're performing now, what can we do collectively to add additional value to the service that we provide.
Yeah, great point. So you know me, I love data, I love a bit of a spreadsheet, I love analysing stuff. So
Absolutely.
all things that I'm very keen on. Obviously at the moment we do provide quite good information to all our customers in a monthly service pack. If people do have reporting requirements, looking in specific areas of their service, we're always happy to work with them to sort of set up bespoke reporting. But could we go further on it? Absolutely. I think we've been doing some great stuff internally, and touched on a few things there. Looking at the service as a whole, identifying processing times, and looking at where those are a little bit outside of where we would expect is a good example. And I think where we want to get to is the transparency, where we're just sharing all of that with our customers. Because we're proud of it, and we should be, because we are very good at the service provider, but also having that courage to share it with customers means that we're not trying to hide problems from people. Actually what we want to do is have everybody see what's going on, so that if there are things that we need to work on together, everybody's got the relevant information, everybody can work together on those solutions. So that's a big area that we're looking into. We've obviously set up a lot of our reporting on Power BI, which is a really great tool, very intuitive. And one of the mini projects that we've actually got on the roadmap is again working with customers, talk to them about what's the information that they want, because it's very easy to give a lot of information out there. I could send you a million reports about your account, but if that's not giving any value to the customer, if it's not a question that they want the answer to, actually all we're doing is probably hiding important stuff within all of that. So we've got the tools, we've obviously got the data behind us. So it's all about working with the customer at the moment to understand what they need, tailoring that, and then we can start circulating these reports out. So that's a good example of one of the things that we're doing in the coming months.
Fantastic. And I love that transparency, the openness. That's one thing that CloudTrade, as you used this word a few times today, pride. We're very proud of the fact that we are open and we're transparent. And probably the last question today is around that. What are your thoughts on a wiki or a user forum where people can share information about how they've their experience of the service, and also how they've overcome particular challenges, where other customers can benefit from that knowledge?
So again, another one of the projects that we're going to be working on this year is getting a lot of our documentation and support online, actually, so that it's really easily accessible.
Wow.
To our customers, putting in place articles, videos, examples, so that people can access that a lot easier. And I think there's a natural evolution from there, isn't it? Once we've taken that initial step and got some collateral out there that people can look at, of course we want people's feedback about whether it was useful, whether it's solved their problem, whether it didn't, whether they actually managed to solve it in a different way, and all those kind of things, which I think will naturally evolve out of that, that piece about making all that sort of information a lot easier to access, and having a tool that people can go on and find it on.
Fantastic. And you see that being a rollout for providing that information online and moving forward into the wiki, etc., in 2021?
Yeah, there's obviously work to do there. We've started some of it. We've done a lot of work in the last couple of years about creating that for the internal resource. So we've got experience on how to build it out, and now we're sort of coming to the end of that. We've managed to get all of that information out of people's heads and onto written down somewhere, which has been great. So the next stage is looking at the customer facing stuff. So I think towards the end of this year we'll see something being launched, hopefully.
Fantastic. Richard, really deep insight there in terms of what we're doing around customer experience, the roadmap that we have planned, the transparency. Long may that continue. Thank you for your time this morning. We talked earlier on about making sure that in these podcasts that we present some happiness, some positivity. I think we've done that today, but also looking at your background compared to mine, you're definitely in a happy place there. So thanks
Yes,
again for your time, Richard, today.
no problem. Great to chat as always.
All right, speak soon. Bye for now.
That's fine.